Hi. I love these kind of events. I'm at the edge of my seat listening to the inspiring stories that people have. But do you wonder sometimes, how can you be an inspirational leader? I've actually been wondering about it for years. And in the last couple of years, I've done some work on really trying to dig into what are some of the simple things that would make a big difference. And I want to share with you some of the things I've learned. Years ago, I got a really big clue that maybe my leadership wasn't as inspirational as it could be. And that came from a guy that worked with me, a really sweet guy named Wayne, and he gave me a great big fridge magnet. And what that said was, around here, there's 3 ways of doing things. The right way, the wrong way, and Lesley's way. The first 2 are unimportant. My staff loved it. And I thought it was great. We left it on the fridge. But sometimes when I was opening the door and I'd look at it, I'd think, really? Is that really? That's how I lead? I don't think so. Confirmation came in the form of another gift. And that was a magnet that said, I'm not bossy. I just have better ideas. I still have that one too. And that explained to me why boss is often seen as a 4-letter word, because it is about my ideas. That was harder, because really, if it wasn't about my ideas, then whose ideas was it about? A lot of the movies, a lot of the ideas about leadership are always this hero, right? The big person, the one with all the ideas and the big story, and the one, yes, I'm going to follow. But really, if you have to live with that, it's more like a moth to a flame. And what happens with flames is people get burned. And I know I've been burned by leaders like that, and I think I've probably burned out some people who got too close when I was in the I'm the one with the idea phase. So it's not the most powerful way to lead. And actually, the simple flip on transforming leadership that I've come up with, working with a lot of entrepreneurs, is that I'm not leading you. I'm leading me. So I've been an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. And before that, I was the girl in your class, you know, the one, Miss Know-It-All, right? The one that when the teacher asks the question, up goes the hand, I know, right? We all love her, don't we? Maybe not. Well, you do get a lot of rewards in school for having the answers. And when you're a young entrepreneur and you're starting your first company, people want that. Or that's what I thought. They want people with answers. They want the person who says, I can do it. But actually, it wears thin. And it's not something that you can build a sustainable company on, because people are waiting for you to be wrong. And they kind of secretly delight when you get tripped up, right? You guys do that sometimes too? Yeah? Yeah. And it has the shadow side of it's all about me. So years ago, when I was taking one of our companies public, and we were in the middle of the process of doing that, so there was a lot of change and growing and things going on at the company, I also married a wonderful man and got pregnant. And so I was growing this wonderful little girl at the same time. Now I had it, no problem, because I would just bring her to the office. I mean, how hard can that be? How hard is it to look after a baby? Really? I mean, they just kind of lie on the floor and eat and sleep. Easy. I learned a lot bringing my little Natalie to the office, because my staff were fantastic. I actually couldn't do it all anymore, and they were great. They were amazing. They were such great moms for her. And I also did it to Kasani too and brought her to the office. It was great. Everyone loved it. But what I learned was that if I could have my most precious thing in the world, my daughter, and I could trust my staff with that, why wasn't I trusting them with projects and with our customers and with their ideas? Duh. So actually, bringing a baby to the office didn't make me less productive. It made me way more effective because I got out of people's way. And I realized that to go from an entrepreneur to a leader was about going from I can do it through we can do it and to where it's really important, you can do it. It's yours. I'm here to support you to do the right things. So, if I'm not going to do, if I'm going to lead, what does that look like? If I'm not the one who's doing things for you, which often is really just, you need to do it my way, how am I going to get trust and respect? So I'm going to get trust and respect, not by doing, but by being. Being respectful. That's how I earn respect. Being trustworthy and trusting. That's how people will trust me. Simon Sinek has got a great TED Talk, and he's written some wonderful books, and he talks all about the power of why. And the more I've been leading, the more I realize this actually is the job of the leader. We hold the why. So whether you're on a rowing team, or on a social project, or running a company, or wherever you're in a group, the leader holds the why. The leader brings the group together to figure out where are we and where do we want to go. Everybody else owns the how. So if you're going to sign up and we're going to be a team, I as leader hold why. You hold the how. I don't get in your way, and I have to make that agreement with you. I am not going to tell you what to do. If we're going to figure this out together, it's because I get my ego out of the way, and I really do work for the team, not asking the team to work for me. It's a huge flip. So if I'm leading myself, then I can invite others to follow. And so here's what leading myself sounds like in my head. That as a leader, often I would think things like, why didn't you tell me that last week? Ever thought that? Really, what I need to be thinking is, how can I build a trusting place where we share with each other? That's what I can do. And then if I'm walking by someone's desk and I hear them on the phone and I'm like, oh, tell me that's not talking to a customer, that I don't wait for them to get off the phone and say, hey, Ken, that's not how we talk to customers. This is how we talk to customers, which is, again, how I would do it. What I need to do is think, how can we build a culture of customer service? So each of you deals with customers the way that you would best in a customer service way. That's what I can do. And then if I'm thinking, why won't people do what they say? Have you ever had that in a group project? Yeah? Where you're feeling like, I thought we were all doing this. What's going on is you've somehow told people what to do, and they're not doing that. But if we all set our own accountabilities, if we make our own commitments, everybody will do what they say they're going to do. That's how I invite others. I've been part of an organization that's around the globe, and there's actually some people here at the school who I know through that, and it's called EO, or the Entrepreneurs Organization. And what that is 10,000 entrepreneurs around the world. It's like a peer support network trying to figure out how to be better leaders. So we get together in Calgary, there's 150, and I'm in a small little forum group of 9, and we share stories with each other of what's going on in our world. Because how else can we figure out how to be better leaders? And when I think about all the stories that I've told over the years and all the stories I've heard, really, yeah, there's big random events that happen. There's bad people in the world. There's stuff that happens. But really, my stories, I'm the one that controls those. The thing that I can change is what I see, what I pay attention to, how I think about it, how I feel about it. That's what I can affect. So a couple of years ago, when I was quite involved in designing some stuff for EO, for these little forum groups where we get together and talk, The global leaders said, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to define and measure entrepreneurial leadership. And yep, there went that hand again. Thank God there was a lot of other people who stuck their hands up too. So we had a lot of fun together. We drew pictures, we talked to people, we read things. There is so much in the world about leadership. I mean, just Google it. It's huge. But we tried to figure out what was real for us. And when we got it down to a pretty simple model, we took it on the road and we went all over the world talking to entrepreneurs. We went to Kuala Lumpur, we went to Bali, Hong Kong, Athens, London, Saskatoon, Washington, D.C. I'm sure I'd hear the same thing if I talked to entrepreneurs right here in Duncan. This is what's human. This is that journey of hero to human. So what we discovered and what was shared is that we can think of leadership as being a whole circle. And half of it is the stuff that you can see. It's that outer stuff. And there's a lot of information. You'll learn about it in school. You'll learn about it in debate. Lots of people will have the 12 steps to be a better entrepreneur or a better leader. But what's really important is what goes on in your head, that inner journey. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How are you going to get better at that? The only way that I've found is to have conversations with people I can trust. And that's how that works for me. The other way to look at it is that leadership also involves the two sides of our brain. The intellectual side, so the part that makes plans and thinks about things and gets things done and is very logical, right? This is how economists think we are in the world, right? Rational man. And the emotional side. This is who really shows up at your company every day, people. So managing your emotions and understanding it, and then being able to connect with and understand other people's. So that's a lovely theory. And from that, we get this model. So in the center is who we are as a leader, and then around it are the 4 quadrants. So let me share a story with you. A couple of years ago, a company that I care a lot about, passionate about it, I discovered through a phone call that there was a really big financial problem, like off the cliff financial problem. So guess where I went first? Feel, right? Angry, upset, disappointed, freaked out, all those things. Very real, not that useful. But I recognized that what was going on. Deep breaths, get some more information, move over to think. Consciously do that. So paying attention, when are you feeling and when are you thinking? And you can consciously change from one to the other. And when I'm thinking about it, now I need more information. I'm going to engage with people. And when I'm engaging, having conversations, how do I get the information I need? The thinking and feeling. And that's when we could move to execute. You can't just build a plan right away when something's going wrong. There's a whole process that's involved. Specific things I've learned about leadership. Leadership is not, I decide everything. I used to really think it was. And it was a baby, or 2 babies, who taught me that actually, the fewer decisions that I make, the better leader I am. It's not about that. When I'm having conversations with people, I've got 2 choices. All of us have 2 choices. We can listen, or we can talk. And often, entrepreneurs, remember the one with the answers? As soon as you start to tell me about something, I know the answer. No, I need to listen, because I don't actually know the answer. This is through your eyes. This is what you're seeing. It's really important. And so to be a really good leader is about asking really good questions. So whether you're leading a team or a company or a project group, it's about having conversations, listening, asking questions, not talking, not being the one with the answer. Another huge thing with leadership is knowing when to stand tall and when to step back and get out of the way. And it's kind of the opposite of what you see with some leaders. I need to stand tall as a leader when things aren't going well, when there's been a misunderstanding, when the stock price is sliding, when things aren't good. That's when I need to stand up and be responsible as the leader. I need to support my team by standing in front. But when things are going really well, when the project's great, when the customer's delighted, that's when I step out of the way and sit down and let the people who did it really stand up and take the glory and be leaders. So leading myself and inviting others to follow. Leading myself means being kind to myself, telling myself good stories, holding myself accountable, being trusting, being trustworthy. That's what all of us can do. We can all choose to do that. And if you think about the opportunities to lead that you have, next time there's one where your brain is going, ooh, I think I could do that, think about what the why would be for you to lead that. Because if you share your dream, if you share your why of how you could lead that, I guarantee you people will be delighted to follow. So I shared a couple of magnets that I got that were quite sarcastic, and I wanted to end up by saying I am actually getting nicer gifts now. A friend of mine, Rob Simon, sent me this the other day, and this, I think, really speaks to that power of feel. So if each of us can place our hands over our heart, what you feel, that's your heart beating. It's always happening, but now you're aware of it. And with that is your purpose. If you lead from that purpose, people will always follow. Thank you.